So last week, I talked about how much Batman Begins sucks. And I stand behind that. I said what I said. I got some messages from some people who didn't agree with me. And they're wrong. That movie is not very good. It's just a well-made movie that's written poorly and acted kind of okayly. So anyway, it got me interested to do the rest. Now I know where I stand on the final one, which I'm going to get into next 2 weeks. 2 more episodes, I'll do that. The one after the next one. This is episode 35, and then there'll be 36, and then 37. Episode 37, I'll do Dark Knight Rises. But this episode is all about The Dark Knight, the opus of the Nolan Batman trilogy. Now, I remembered it being good. Like, I liked it, but I knew there were some parts that I thought were dumb. So I decided to watch it, and I haven't watched it in, I don't know, a few years. And let's just get into it. I have a bunch of notes. And, we're just going to fucking go through it and see where we're at. Okay. Spoilers for The Dark Knight if you haven't seen it. I mean, it's been a while. You should watch it. Okay, so it starts with this opening bank heist. And I think this is the scene that gripped everyone's attention. This scene is shot so fucking well. The music is perfect. It's just like a high tension string. It's shot beautifully. You're getting very little information, so there's mystery to it. And essentially you open on, a camera coming up behind a guy in a mask and a bag, and then you come to realize like there's all these henchmen in clown masks, and they're going to rob this bank. And like you're getting information from the henchmen as they like scene cut between different henchmen talking. You're getting information about them, and it's all like, did you hear about this Joker guy? Like they're talking about the Joker. They don't know who he is, or they just know of him. They're talking about him. Love this idea. It's great. Very similar the way Tim Burton approached the 1989 Batman in the beginning, where there's henchmen talking about the idea of the Batman and why it's scary. So he's, whether he did it intentionally or not, he's borrowing on that idea. And then like the henchmen start killing each other. Like there'll be a pair doing a job. Like one guy's on the roof cutting the phone lines or whatever. And then as soon as he's done, the henchman behind him kills him. Fucking great. And that happens a couple more times. A guy at the safe, once he opens the safe, boom, the henchman behind him kills him. So you start to realize like, oh, and the henchmen are saying like, oh, I was told to kill you, so I killed you. So you start to realize like, oh, okay. The Joker's behind this, and he's told every one of each pair of henchmen to kill the other one. So that way there's less by the time it gets to him, and you kind of can see where it's going. Fucking awesome. So they get all the money. I think they kill the guard. I don't remember. There's a lot of murder in this movie. So you come to realize, oh, this is a crime boss bank. Like it's a Falcone-owned mob bank. And the bank manager comes out and he's like, who are you fucking with? And he's like taking shots at everybody, at the bad guys with shotguns, and he's missing. Excuse me. And so, he gets shot by the Joker. And then, Joker takes off his mask and reveals who he is. And you're like, it's the Joker. But then something weird happens. And then Joker kills the last henchman he kills the last henchman, takes all the money for himself, and takes off in this school bus. But before he does that, he puts a smoke grenade in the bank manager's mouth. The bank manager's still alive. And the bank manager's yelling, but he won't take the smoke grenade out of his mouth. He won't even spit it out. He's just leaving it in his mouth. It's very odd. It's a really dumb choice. So anyway, I don't understand why he didn't do that. Okay, so then it cuts to the next part where it's like there's some sort of drug deal going down in a multi-level parking structure, and it's the Scarecrow selling his fear toxin to henchmen, I guess, whatever. And then you come to see that there's like all these like pretend wannabe vigilante Batmans dressed in like hockey pads and shit. And I fucking hated this. I like the idea of, the fake Batman, but like throwing away the Scarecrow. They threw him away in the first movie. He would have been great. And then this movie, they make him just like a fucking D-level guy who so easily gets taken out. It's so pointless. It's such a disrespect to the character that I thought would have been really cool. Watch episode, whatever it is, 34 or 33 when I talk about Batman Begins. But they just fucking they could have used any bad guy to show this scene. There was no need to make it Scarecrow just to make him like a worthless villain to get beat up eventually when Batman does show up. It was so stupid. It really, really... and I like the idea of the phony Batman, but they never really revisit it. Like later, one of those guys gets captured and murdered by the Joker to like put heat on Batman to come forward. But even that part of the story is kind of like just buried in there. This is a problem. Nolan does this with all of these Batman movies. I've only come to think of it, I've only seen one other non-Batman Nolan movie. I think it's Memento. I haven't seen. He did Interstellar, right? I haven't seen that. Did he do Interstellar? I don't know. I didn't see Inception. What's the one with that robot that walks in the water? Didn't see that. Didn't see. Didn't he do a war? World War I or something? Didn't see that. Or World War II? I don't know. Normandy. So I don't know if this is just his style, or if it's just how he did the Batman series. But he crams so much; they're just so bloated, and it's a problem. It's a problem. It makes what could be a really compelling story about one or two things. He tries to make it about like 15 things, and so everything always feels like quick, like it's cutting. Like I said this in the last movie too, that it feels like you're just constantly watching a montage. I will say that this movie, I don't know if this is true, but this seems much more like a Nolan movie, where the first one, you don't really feel so much of his directing style. It seems like more studio involvement, but this one, it feels like he is making this movie. So anyway, I hated that they threw away the Scarecrow. I hate, so while this drug deal is going on that the fake Batman are, trying to stop, the real Batman shows up in his giant fucking tank, the most unstealth thing ever. And he just like pops in through like like he's on like a high floor and he just pops in through, like, where did he fucking come from? Without being heard. Like you wouldn't hear this tank barreling through the air, like trying to get in there. He crashes through the wall. Batman's there, but he's not in it. It's just a diversion. So then Batman, comes out of nowhere, and the shitty Bat-Foo is back. His terrible fighting style, where he commits, always to one side, one direction, and big kind of hulky movements. It's not good, and Batman is kind of known for fighting. He's known for two things. Batman, the character Batman, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman. Ninja shit, like stealth and using the shadows, and fighting. That's kind of Batman's thing. And he uses no stealth. He just jumps right in and is fighting everybody all at once. And his fighting style is trash. It's so stupid. And I still really dislike the costume design. I hate all the little armor plates. He's Batman. He doesn't need armor. That's the whole point, that he's Batman. And just the cowl design I really don't like. They make it where it kind of like loops, it like hugs tight to Bale's face and kind of comes underneath. So you get like this like kind of a heart-ish type shape around his mouth. I really don't like it. It's unflattering, and the way it pulls his nose back. That's part of the reason it makes him talk like this. And And the fucking voice is even worse in this movie. It's so dumb. He's just making so much noise. He makes so much noise in these movies. The first movie is all about how he's a ninja, but he's never doing anything ninja-like. It's so stupid. So anyway, he makes a bunch of noise. They throw away the Scarecrow character. It's a real bummer. They could have done something cool with him. They didn't both times. But I do love that in this movie, like over the course of all these movies, Batman is still figuring out how to be Batman. I like that conceptually. I like that. That he doesn't have it nailed down, that he's not perfect about it, that he's not, invincible. I like all those elements. It doesn't apply to him making too much noise. That's like the first thing he learned prior to becoming Batman was like, oh yeah, don't make a lot of noise. The League of Shadows taught me like how to not be seen. But then he's constantly just like popping up in front of people. Like, I'm right here. I'm Batman. I'm a ninja. You can't see me. Here I am. So the Rachel story is still obnoxious, but it does make more sense in this movie. She actually kind of plays a role, kind of. But they're really, in these movies, they just use female characters to humanize the male characters. Like the female character, like, she had more to do in this movie for sure. And I like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think she's a good actor, leagues better than Katie Holmes. No disrespect to Katie Holmes. And obviously that's a very disrespectful thing to say, but I don't mean it like that. I just mean like objectively, I personally don't find Katie Holmes all that interesting to watch, where I think Maggie Gyllenhaal has a lot of character and charisma and is very good. And she's very good in this. But they're just using her as a way to humanize Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent. That's all they're doing. The same in the first movie, they just used her as a way to humanize Bruce Wayne. She's not actually a part of the story. She's just, she's just a vehicle or a tool to make the male characters seem better. Yeah. But there's something about, I feel that this has to do with Nolan. There's something about the way he directs that for me, all the acting choices feel a little flat. It's got to be him as a director, because like I feel that way about every character in the movie, that everybody's just playing it a little flat. And I feel like he was so concerned. I don't know if this is true. It's just my guess. I feel that he was so concerned with, I got to ground this in reality. I got to make it real. I got to make it real. I got to make it real, that he downplayed everything in weird ways. But it's just, so it's like, again, it's still not fun. This movie is not fun. And it, everybody feels a little flat to me. I don't know why. It's just, yeah. Bruce Wayne, for me, I feel is supposed to be lovable. Like, I love the way, for me, the best iteration I've seen of the relationship between the two, Bruce Wayne and Batman, because it is supposed to be a relationship, is the animated series. They got it right. And when Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne, he's not, like, he's kind of dopey and, but he's still lovable. Like, you love that character. But Bale's Bruce Wayne is just a dick. And I don't like him. Like, I don't want to watch him. I don't find him charismatic. He's just an asshole. And you can argue like, well, that's, billionaires are probably assholes. Sure. But I don't want to watch that from my hero. You know what I mean? I don't want to watch him pretend. It's just, I don't like it. It's just not fun to watch. There's a scene where Bruce Wayne is at dinner with Harvey Dent and Rachel Dawes, the Maggie Gyllenhaal and what's his name, Aaron Eckhart characters. And he's kind of like testing Dent to see if he's like a legit good guy. And I like that. I like that a lot. As Bruce Wayne, he's using his position as Bruce Wayne to find out which politicians are good or bad. Like, yeah, that's some Bruce Wayne Batman shit. Great. Like, yes, good job. But like, the reason he's doing it is because he wants to not be Batman. Like, all of Nolan's Batman movies are about Batman going like, I want to be Batman. And then the second he's Batman, he's like, I don't want to be Batman anymore. I need to find a way to not be Batman. And it's just very dumb. Batman wants and needs to be Batman. That's one of the defining characteristics of Batman, is that he feels so compelled to be Batman, to protect the people of Gotham, to prevent any child from ever experiencing his trauma, that he will sacrifice his own life, figuratively and literally, to keep that from happening. But in these Nolan Batman movies, he's constantly just like, I don't want to be Batman. Fucking, could you be Batman? Harvey Dent, could you be Batman? What about Bane? Can you be Batman? Like everybody, he wants everybody else to be Batman. I get what they were going for. It's just, no, it's dumb. What else? So then Heath Ledger starts coming in more. He does that scene, with all the bad guys sitting around, which I'll get to that in a second. No, I'll get to it now. Why the fuck are all these bad guys, all these different crime bosses just like hanging out together? Like they all keep their money in the same banks. They all pool and like talk to each other. Like, aren't they in competition with each other? It was just very silly and like kind of 1966 Batman for me. Like when you'd see like, they want to get all the characters in the same room. So you got Catwoman, Riddler, Egghead, Joker, Penguin, all hanging around in the same room talking. And you're like, what? So anyway, all the bad guys are just hanging out in their like monthly clubhouse meeting. And then Heath Ledger walks in and he's fucking electric. He really is. Like some of the editing I found weird in that scene where he, I want to make a pencil disappear trick. But he is so fucking good in this movie. He carries the movie. I think him and Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman. But yeah, they carry the fucking movie. Like especially Heath Ledger. He's just so electric to watch. Yeah, between him, Michael Caine, and Morgan Freeman, like you're really seeing just like wonderful characters and performances. Morgan Freeman is always Morgan Freeman. Like that personality of Morgan Freeman is always there, but it's always wonderful to watch. Very similar to like Denzel Washington. Like that, you don't see like a ton of variation, but whatever they do is so good, and you really identify with it. Michael Caine probably too. But Heath Ledger, that is not the experience here. He is not himself. He is the Joker. He exists entirely in this character, which is so impressive to watch. I will say, after seeing Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, now it's a little unfair comparison because that movie is entirely about the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. It's entirely about him, the whole thing. This movie is not entirely about the Joker. It's not about, so they kind of just fit in his story as you go. But the depth at which it made me appreciate and really like be wowed even more so by the depth of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker after watching Heath Ledger's again. I haven't seen it in a long time. While Heath Ledger still fucking knocks it out of the park, he's incredible. Joaquin Phoenix really like did something pretty unbelievable. So anyway, Heath Ledger's fucking amazing. And what did I write that for? So he has like a little spat with Michael Jai White's character, whose name is Gamble. He kills one of his henchmen. Gamble puts out a hit on Joker. And then I love that in like the next scene or maybe a couple scenes later, Joker comes after him. He like has these guys pretend that they caught the Joker. They bring him in. His guys kill all the Joker's guys. Joker kills Gamble. And then Joker makes the last two of Gamble's henchmen fight to the death to see who can live. Fucking great. Like really, really villainous stuff. And I like it a lot. So good job. In this movie, like all this, want to know how I got these scars and all the different stories. I love that touch that he wasn't giving you any reality. I mean, that's, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is like that too. Even what you're watching on screen there's so many rumors that like, oh, that's not true. He's just in the mental hospital the whole time and all this shit. Anyway, in this Batman movie, Heath Ledger's Joker is like a legitimate psychopathic murderer, which is great. I mean, it makes him scary and it makes him really volatile and yeah, great. What did I write here? Just like a submarine. I said, I love that line. It must have been something Morgan Freeman said. Or, I don't know. Whatever. But I've seen this movie 3, maybe 4 times. And on this last time was the first time that it was clear, like really clear to me. Like, oh, okay, this is the entire convoluted story that like the Chinese businessman is helping all these mob bosses launder their money, and then he takes their money so he won't get found out that he's laundering it, and then that's why Batman goes to China and drags him back, and he's going to testify, and then, Joker wants to kill him. But again, even the way I just described that, not that I did like a super great job, it's very convoluted for a Batman story. I feel that ultimately people really miss the essence of Batman, that he's just a guy and pretty simple, and like his stories are pretty simple, even later in the books when they started introducing more supernatural characters and stuff like that, the story is very simple, and so you could focus more on the character. But in these movies, the story is complicated and the characters are pretty flat. It's very so anyway, there's all this stuff with this Chinese businessman, this crooked businessman, and the gangs of Gotham and their money, and the corrupt politicians, and it's all this type of atmosphere. But anyway, the Chinese businessman bounces back to China, and I love that Batman is just like, I'm gonna fly over there and just drag him back to Gotham. I liked that. That's a very cool Batman thing that they did. And there was some cool Batman stuff, like he comes in. He has Morgan Freeman go there and drop like a sonar device or whatever so Batman can see inside the building. Kind of, wonky technology that you justify for the movie, which is fine. And I love that he goes in and just takes him all the way back and drops him on the, doorstep for the police. I thought that was cool. But again, it's just the tone of the movie is very heavy. It's just not fun to watch. Nolan doesn't make fun movies. This is a superhero. There's always just such a heaviness and bleakness, which you can be dark without being bleak or bland. Like, again, look at the 1989 Batman. It's very dark. But it's very fun. You feel a ton of adventure. There's levity. Anyway, there's a scene where Joker's killing all of these judges. He kills 3 of them at the same time. It's like a judge, the mayor, or the governor, or some police chief. Oh, this is the judge, the police commissioner, and someone else. And he sets up this elaborate plan to kill all 3 of them at the same time. And it was great. I love that scene. It's very tense and cool. There's a lot of kind of hard-boiled detective type vibes with stuff like that in these movies, which I like kind of gritty 70s and 80s type movie making, or storytelling rather. There's this part where after that, Bruce Wayne, I'm just going through my notes. That's why it's more or less in order, but that's why I'm kind of jumping around. But Bruce Wayne starts begging Rachel to stay with him, which is the most un-Bruce Wayne and un-Batman thing you can do. Again, it's just a fundamental lack of understanding or attachment to the character. What it feels like is that, I don't know if this is true, I could be totally wrong, but it feels like you're watching a movie from a talented filmmaker who likes the idea of Batman but didn't grow up reading Batman. So he's just he probably read the Miller books, Year One and Dark Knight Returns, and then just oh, Batman is dark and fucking angry and he hates being Batman. That's yep, great. But the Miller Batman but the Miller Batman resonates more if you actually like the earlier Batman iterations. Because it's a progression. If you start at Miller for Batman or Daredevil, if you start there, your take on them is only angry and bleak. which I think is a disservice because it's one note. The Miller stuff is amazing. I still read those books and I still love them. But again, like I appreciate them more because I also read other non-Miller version of things. Like Miller's take to just make everything super gritty and super real. I mean, real is not the right word, but just super gritty and dark. It exploded the world of not just comics, but like film to comics. That's the take that they use, like for fear of being 66 Batman or Batman and Robin or, but it's just, it misses something, man. It's one dimensional. That's all. Not the Miller books. The take on Batman based off of the Miller books is one dimensional. So you get to this point where Bruce Wayne is holding a fundraiser for Harvey Dent in his Sky Mansion, his penthouse. I didn't mean to say Sky Mansion. I just literally couldn't think of the word penthouse, and Sky Mansion was how my brain reconciled that. So Bruce Wayne shows up in a helicopter with 30 models, and you're like, okay, it's Bruce Wayne. It just doesn't, I don't know, the way he portrays Bruce Wayne, I'm just not into. I'm just not a fan of it. So anyway, Joker's guys show up. Bruce Wayne takes Maggie Gyllenhaal into the other room. Is like, stay here. Then he goes through a doorway and he, is going to put on Batman stuff. While that's happening, Bruce Wayne is off camera. It takes a while to get in that bat suit. Joker's going around and he's terrorizing the people at the party. Maggie Gyllenhaal doesn't listen and just pops out of the room and is like, hey, I'm here. And this is when Joker's doing like the second, you want to know how I got these scars stories. And then it's a different story, which that's when you realize like, oh, maybe he was lying about the first one, or he's lying about this one, or both. And you realize like that is an amazing character choice, and writing. Great fucking idea. What a way to show that a character is a sociopath. Such a simple way to do it. Excuse me. So the room is completely lit. Like it's a party. So there's just like the whole room is lit up like this. It's just completely bright. Okay. Joker's in the middle of the room with Maggie Gyllenhaal. And he's looking for Harvey Dent. Bruce Wayne has choked out Harvey Dent and left him in a fucking linen closet, I guess, so that he won't get taken. More takener. Like it's like the fifth Liam Neeson movie where he takes Aaron Eckhart. He turns into the bad guy. Liam Neeson turns into the bad guy. He takes Aaron Eckhart and holds him hostage. And then Maggie Gyllenhaal has to save Aaron Eckhart. So the room is completely lit and they're surrounded. Joker's in the middle. So there's guests completely encircling them and, a dozen henchmen. Okay. And in the middle of that circle is Joker and Maggie Gyllenhaal. He says something, Joker says something, and then Batman is just behind him, and he's like, I'm right here, or whatever the fuck he says. Like, no, like, what is like, Batman just like, work through, excuse me, guys, excuse me, let me get by you, and then just walk up to Joker behind him, wait for him to finish his sentence to give a one-line quip, and then the whole crowd is just like, not saying anything. It was so dumb. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, no, my movie and my story is based totally in reality, but here's a bunch of shit that also makes no sense. Like, I'm going to go into why he has this car, why he has, this helmet, why he has this, how he made his batarangs, you're going to go into all of this, but then he just like materializes behind the Joker and nobody can see him. Like, okay, even if he materializes, maybe he's got, fucking Harry Potter spell. He's a Death Eater. Great. And he's apparating. But like, nobody sees it. Like, nobody's like, hey, Joker, the Batman's behind you. Joker, no, behind you. Yeah, there, Batman. Nobody says it. Like, it was very dumb. So, also, like, his entire Batman's, I don't like the design. I really don't like the design. It's like my least favorite Batman design, maybe ever. I'm sure there's whack ones, drawn ones, but like for sure for live action, it's no good. I really don't like it. His belt is gold. He paints his entire suit black. There's that scene in the first movie. He's spray painting everything black. He wants to be stealth, and he keeps his belt gold. Why? They're not, the suit looks nothing like any of the old suits. It's not like the Keaton suit, which had the big, the yellow symbol with the black bat on it and the yellow belt, classic, black and yellow Batman. They're not doing that. So, I mean, it's so dumb. So, okay. There's this whole sequence where, okay, I'm just going to read this because it gets mixed up in my head. I just want to read. This is the thing in this movie that really bugs me. Okay. The entire sequence with Batman taking the bullet from the wall to get the fingerprints off the bullet is useless. It makes no sense. Joker would have... Okay. So there's this scene where there's like some kind of like a murder, and then the Gotham PD is there, and then Batman appears and he's like, I need 5 minutes with your crime scene before your detectives contaminate it. And Gordon's like, all right, everybody out. Let Batman do what he wants. And then Batman finds a bullet in the wall, takes the bullet out, knowing that like in the morning there's going to be some sort of mayor parade, and they need to get this done before so they can protect the mayor. So in like 8 hours, he takes this bullet out of the wall, goes to his underground new bat cave that's like a Lamborghini showroom. Who built this? I don't know. And he gets similar caliber guns, shoots them into various types of drywall or brick wall, or whatever the fuck it was, to see how they shatter so he can reconstruct the bullet and then try to get a fingerprint off of the bullet. Like, he does all of this in like 8 hours. And then he uses that fingerprint to find who it belongs to, which is an apartment overlooking the mayor parade the next day. So he gets the fingerprint, finds out who owns or whose fingerprint it is and where they live, goes to that place during the mayor parade to find a bunch of hog-tied police. And then you realize, so then a bunch of Joker henchmen are in their uniforms in the parade and they're planning to kill the mayor. Why? Okay. And then Bruce Wayne goes to the window just when a timer goes off so that it releases a switch that lets the blinds shoot up. So that way the police snipers that were there to protect the mayor, see something come up. They think it's a gunman and they shoot at Bruce Wayne. So that would mean Joker set all this up in like moments, and Batman figured it out in moments, but he set it up going like, okay, we're going to put this bullet in the wall with this other guy's fingerprint on it. So I'm going to take this guy's thumb, push this bullet into the magazine, fire that bullet into that wall. I know that Batman is for sure, because the police wouldn't have been able to do this. They don't have the technology or the, know how to do this. So Batman's going to come. He's going to take the bullet out of the wall. He's going to take it home, and in the right amount of time, and in perfect timing, by the way, not before the parade and not after, but like right when we need him to, right when the timer is going to go off. I'm going to set this timer exactly. So I'm going to set it for 9 hours and 17 minutes and 30 seconds. So that Batman will find the fingerprint, go to the room, go to the window at the exact time, and then the blind will come up, and then maybe they'll kill him or they'll take a shot at him, and that distraction will give us, the henchmen next to the mayor, a chance to then turn and try to kill the mayor. That was his plan. What? Then Gary Oldman jumps in front and seemingly is killed. Okay. And he's just dead. You're like, okay. And there's this scene where like one of the other cops has to tell Gordon's wife that he's dead, and she cries, and Batman is just like standing creepily by on the fire escape, like looking at the kid, and the kid looks at Batman, and Batman's like, ugh. It's so fucking dumb, and there was no point to this. So you find out later that Gordon didn't die. He faked his own death, which is like, why? I don't, there was no reason why, but it also means that like, because then you find out like it was a plan, like he meant to do it, I guess. So it's like, so then Gordon knew about this elaborate plot from the Joker and that he would fake his own death to then, it serves no purpose. Like nothing happens as a result of Gordon faking his own death that couldn't or wouldn't have happened otherwise. Like there was no reason for it to happen. It made no sense. And then like when Gordon comes back later, he catches the Joker and he's like rips off his mask. He's like, "Oh, I'm still alive." And you're like, so I don't, maybe I'm missing something. Comment below or message me. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below. Let me know if there was a reason Gordon needed to fake his own death. And otherwise, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, or TikTok or whatever. It was just so fucking dumb. But Batman is so mad because I guess he doesn't know that Gordon is still alive. So he's like super pissed. But it's like, you're the world's greatest detective. You would probably know. Anyway, the next scene is Falcone in like a nightclub. And Batman just like walks in the nightclub and just starts beating up everybody to get to Falcone. And like, again, where the fuck is the ninja stuff? He just walks into a packed nightclub. People are dancing. There's just music and lights. And you're just like, he just walks up to him, beats up like 10 people to get to him. No stealth, no ninja-ing, nothing. Just like, "I'm Batman and I'm going to beat everybody up." And it's so dumb. Yeah. So, like, why not just get the mob boss anywhere else? And there's a kind of line where the girl, the mob boss, that Falcone, is it Falcone? Whatever. No, it's not Falcone. It's the other guy after Falcone. But while the mob boss, the girl with him is like, "Let's go home," or whatever, he's like, "No, I'm not going." Like, so you kind of get the idea. Maybe he is intentionally staying in public to protect himself. Great. So Batman can come up with no better way than to just like walk in there. Like everybody just is constantly seeing Batman in these movies. So you start to, there's all this stuff with Harvey Dent. And I know people like to shit on Aaron Eckhart in this movie for being kind of like a little hokey or over-actory, but like, whatever. I thought he was fine. I mean, I don't disagree that he's a bit hammy, but, I think he's fine in the role, actually. And I would have loved to see that story. Like, even if it was a Joker and Two-Face movie, make it Joker and Two-Face. Don't make it Joker, Two-Face, plus the Chinese businessman, plus the corrupt PD, plus the politicians, plus, all these capers of the Joker's pulling off. Like, it's just... So Two-Face is kind of thrown away a lot, too. He's kind of left. But his turn is actually really cool. And I would have loved to see that movie. And while he was Two-Face, he dies like... He's Two-Face for like 10 minutes and then he dies. Spoiler alert at the end. He's super menacing and scary. And he literally is just like flipping the coin whether or not people live or die. And cool. And the makeup is amazing. The effects are great. So anyway, they keep going back to the love story, which is so useless for Batman. It's just unnecessary to give Batman a love story. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a part. So the Joker does this big plot to escape prison where he like, oh no, he's being chased by the police. No, what the fuck is it? What's happening? I don't remember. Oh, the police are trying to escort, or they're trying to transport the Chinese businessman who's going to testify. They're trying to transport him to somewhere else. And then all the Joker and his guys try to hijack that truck with the Chinese businessman is in. And it's causing all this chaos. And then Batman shows up in his Batmobile, and he's literally just like blowing up cars on the side of the road. Like, there could be people in him. There could be people next to him. He's just exploding cars, like shooting them with missiles to get through. And like, again, very un-Batman. So while this is happening, it's getting crazy. There's like, firefights on the road, and the SWAT guys are driving evasively. And there's a line where one of the SWAT guys in the... Sorry, is this not focusing on me? Focus on me. Focus on me. Pay attention to me. Camera. Well, one of the SWAT guys, like all this chaos is going on, and the SWAT guy goes, I didn't sign up for this. It's like, motherfucker, you're in SWAT. You literally signed up for this. This is the job. Like, the SWAT guys are the crazy. Yes, you got to deal with the crazy gunfights and car chases. That's your thing. That's kind of your thing. So anyway, Batman's blowing up parked cars. They do this really incredible stunt where they flip end over end an 18-wheeler. It's very impressive. They really did it. I think it's still out of focus. Focus on me, man. Whatever. Well, hopefully that'll come out okay. Sorry, YouTube. And then that's when Gary Oldman reveals himself like, bitch, I'm still here. And you're like, okay. There's a scene too where the Batmobile gets like fucked up beyond repair, and then he like ejects out of it into the Bat cycle. He's in the Bat motorcycle now. That was very cool. I was like, that's some Batman shit. But there's a scene where, and then the Batmobile blows up behind him. It has a self-destruct because obviously you don't want people, getting it. So again, just blowing shit up on the road could kill a bunch of people. Batman's like, meh, whatever. But there's a scene where, and they copy the scene that was in the 89 Batman where Batman is flying the Bat plane at Joker at the end of the movie, and he's shooting, and Joker's just walking to him. Come on, come on. So they recreate that scene here. And same thing, Joker's walking to him like, come on, hit me, hit me, hit me. And Batman's driving in his Bat cycle, and he swerves at the end. Doesn't hit Joker, and he crashes. But there's another scene too where Batman is driving, and he is about to hit a wall, and like the Bat cycle hits the wall and then goes up 90 degrees, spins and turns around. It makes no sense. Like the physics of it literally don't exist. It just bugs me. So anyway, they capture the Joker, and for some reason, there's a jail cell in the middle of the floor of this police station or precinct or whatever, and they put the Joker in just general population. He's just with everybody. What? No. This is a guy like who's caused all this chaos. He's murdered judges and fucking, you're just going to put him in Gen Pop? No. Come on. This is stupid. And of course it has to be in the middle of the police station. There's just this cell, this like open cell with like super packed. Anyway, so the interrogation scene, famous interrogation scene is next, which is great. It's a good scene. I like it a lot. Heath Ledger killing it. And, Batman's actually pretty good in this one too. He's just very angry and, enraged, and he doesn't know what to do. And I love the line where, Joker's like, you have nothing to threaten me with, for all your strength. There's nothing you can do. I don't care. And it's great to see like Batman go through that emotion, like, fuck, that's true. Like I'm not going to kill him, and he's not scared of me. What am I going to do? I really like that. Very cool idea. And then, it comes to the Rachel is being held hostage in one place that's covered in gasoline, and Harvey's being held in another. And, they're both going to blow up, but who can you save first? You only got time to save one. It's a great, it's great. It's a great scene. It's a great plan. I liked all of it. Super, super good. And then again, to make Joker is like just an insane monster, he tells Batman which address is which, but he intentionally says them backwards or opposite. So Batman thinks he's going to save Rachel, but he really goes to save Harvey. And there's, which is fucking awesome. Like really, really cruel and fucked up and great. And he does that because when Batman rescues Rachel at the party, he could see that like, oh, he loves this woman. So he very cruel, very fucked up. But the scene, and Harvey and Rachel have like a intercom. They're far away from other sides of town, but they have an intercom where they can speak to one another, and it's great. It's very heartfelt, and Maggie Gyllenhaal is very good and believable, and they're talk to each other like, no, you're going to be okay. No, you're going to be okay. And I hope they save you. And she's like, no, I hope they save you. And it's great. Ultimately, Batman gets Harvey Dent. He takes him out, But like Harvey had already fallen in the gasoline, so half of his face is covered in the gas. When they walk out, the building explodes. The fire gets on Harvey, burns half of his face. Great. And Rachel dies because the police don't show up in time to save her. Great. It's a great scene. It's effective. Really liked it. But that scene should have been in a different movie. That could have been the Harvey Dent Batman movie, where the beginning of the movie, Harvey Dent and Rachel Dawes are in love, and Batman's trying to be okay with it. Bruce Wayne is trying to be okay with it. Middle of or beginning of the second act, there's a hostage scene just by maybe the mob. Same thing happens. Doesn't have to be from the Joker. Same thing happens. Batman thinks he's going one place. He ends up going the other. He saves Harvey, turns him into Two-Face. Rachel dies because the police couldn't get there in time. So now Harvey hates Batman for saving him and letting Rachel die. And he hates the police for the police not being able to save Rachel. And then the last half of the movie could have been Harvey Dent as Two-Face going through and trying to murder anybody who knew about it, anybody who helped, anybody, including Batman and everybody who led to Rachel's death. Like, they could have made that movie. That would have been enough for a movie. And it's just another scene in this movie, which, again, I say it over and over, that's my problem with these Nolan movies. That he tries to throw in so much. Like, any one of these things could have been a good movie in its own right, but he just wastes it by trying to cram as much in as he can. I don't like it. So anyway, where are we at? So all the chaos that the Joker's causing is really cool. It's good, and again, I like it. It's cool. So what else? Oh yeah. So Rachel dies. Batman's all broken up, obviously. Then he's back at his penthouse, his sky mansion, and he's sitting in front of the windows. The walls are wall-to-wall windows, so you can see it's all around. And he's sitting in his bat suit without the cowl next to the window because he's like so bummed out that Rachel's dead. But like, really? You're just going to sit? You're one of the richest men in the world, the most famous person in Gotham and in the world, one of the most famous people in the world, and you're just going to sit in front of your window in your bat suit? It was just a dumb choice. I mean, they're trying to make it like he's so distraught he hasn't even taken off his costume. Okay, but put him somewhere else. Why put him in front of the window? It's so dumb. And he's like, Rachel was gonna leave Harvey for me. She told me, which wasn't true because she gave Alfred a note saying that she wasn't gonna do that. And watching Michael Caine and Maggie Gyllenhaal together is really a pleasure too. They're great together. Their chemistry is really nice. They're both just so warm, and it was cool to see it. And you felt like, oh, they've known each other since she was a little girl and he was a younger man. Like, I liked watching them together. So anyway, Alfred then decides to not give Bruce Wayne the note that said that she was going to leave, that she was not going to leave Harvey. She was going to marry Harvey, and she didn't love Bruce the same way. Which is like, okay, whatever. But I also like the origin of the coin, that, it was in the wreckage, and Bruce gives it. Did Bruce do it? Maybe Gordon. I don't remember. But it's from the wreckage of the thing, of the explosion. So anyway, Harvey Dent's in the hospital now. Half his face is burned off, and they're saying like he won't accept medical treatment. He doesn't want skin grafts. He doesn't want pain medication. It's like, damn, that's pretty fucked up. And he's like full-blown bad guy now. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, the woman I love is dead, it's a weird turn. It happens kind of too quick. Like, everything is going fine, and then this one thing, and now he is 100% bad guy. But again, obviously crazy traumatic experience. Okay. I'll buy it. That's the conceit of the movie. Great. So there's this scene where like there's some big problem. Everybody's being like taken out of the hospital. There's a bomb threat or something. That's it. Joker says that again, all this shit is in one movie. Joker's like, if Batman doesn't come forward, I'm going to blow up a Gotham hospital. So there's chaos in all the hospitals. All the hospitals are evacuating. For some reason, they don't take Harvey out first, even though he's the district attorney. And then there's a scene where like Harvey you can see half his face, like the good side. And Harvey is looking at a nurse in his room. He's looking at the nurse. the nurse is looking at him and he's looking at his fine. And then like she just pulls down her little, blue paper face mask and it's the Joker, and Harvey freaks out, but he's chained to the bed. He can't do anything. But it's like, it looks like the Joker in it's like a shitty wig, but it's still the same makeup. It's built like Heath Ledger. You can totally see that it's the Joker. It just has this mask, but he doesn't react until he takes the mask off. It's so dumb. Watch that scene again. For that alone, and pause it, because like you can see Harvey Dent looking at the nurse. It's not like he's asleep and he wakes up. But again, anybody seeing this nurse walking around the hospital would be like, that's not right. So anyway, he freaks out, and it's very funny. It's very, very funny. But I love the scene of the two of them together, of Joker getting in Harvey Dent's head and like pushing him more over the edge. I fucking love that scene. It's great. It's very scary, really intense. I thought it was fantastic. There's another scene too where like Batman is in Batman uniform. He's with Lucius, with Morgan Freeman character, and he's using the Batman voice. But like Lucius knows it's Bruce Wayne. Why is he using the Batman voice? There's a lot of stuff like that in these movies. So then it's like, this movie's still going on. I even wrote right here, this movie is so long. It really is so long. So then it's like, there's this scene on the boat where Joker's rigged two boats to explode and given the detonator to each boat to the other boat. One boat is filled with prisoner inmates because everybody's being evacuated from the city, I guess. And the other boat is filled with like rich people. And it's like, okay, you get to decide who murders who. And it's like, okay, it's a little on the nose for like the class war here. But it's totally unnecessary. Why the fuck are we watching this scene? Plus, like, you've done this before. Like, I'm going to make Gotham eat itself. Joker, like, he's done this. Like, if Batman doesn't come forward, I'm going to blow up a hospital and see who eats who. And like, they've done this before. And then it was like, okay, and then some guy said, I know who Batman is. And then Joker was like, okay, if this guy tells who Batman is, I'm going to blow up a hospital or a school or something like that. It's very convoluted. I know I'm making a mess of it, but it's just so, this whole scene on the boat, ultimately, Batman is like, I got to find Joker, so I got to use this machine that'll make me see the whole city. And Lucius Fox is like, oh, that's too much power for one man. And if you turn this on, I'm going to quit. So he turns it on so he can see the whole city. He finds the Joker. And he stops the Joker. He gets the Joker. Neither of the boats get blown up. But again, it's just entirely unnecessary. That whole part could go away. He gets the Joker. And then Gordon and his family, or Gordon's family, is missing. So Gordon goes after them. Harvey Dent has them. He wants to make Gordon choose which kid he's going to murder in front of him. Super dark, really fucked up. And then the scene between Dent or Two-Face and Commissioner Gordon is great. It's hard for me to watch shit like that where kids are being traumatized like that. Not like saying the actor was traumatized, but like if I'm looking at this as a real situation, a young boy seeing his father, begging and crying for this murderer with half a face to choose which of his kids are going to die. Like, I have a hard time with that, man. It's hard to watch. But anyway, ultimately, Batman shows up. You are the best in all of us. And tackles Two-Face and kills him. So it's like Two-Face was Two-Face for like 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of the movie. It's a waste. They just threw him away. Yeah, they put so much time into making him cool, and then they just, fuck it, let's get rid of him right now. And they do. He's dead, and then Batman is like, we can't tell anybody that it was Harvey. Harvey needs to be the beacon of hope, which is like a theme in this movie they keep beating you over the face with. And so then Batman is like, blame it on me. Say I kidnapped your family. Say I killed Harvey Dent. Say it was all me, and I'll be the brunt of it. Which is like, why don't you just blame the mob? Why do you have to blame Batman? I don't understand. Just blame the fucking mob. I mean, if you're going to create a story to preserve the legacy of Harvey Dent so that all the people he put away don't get set free, and so that the people of Gotham still believe that there is still good in the city. So just blame it on the mob. Like, why also tear down Batman, who the people are also behind? It's just dumb. So again, those are the points that, like, just make no sense. So it ends with Batman running away and being chased by dogs and police, which cool. I think the impetus for it was unnecessary and kind of dumb. And then, Gordon delivers the titular line, which I'm never a fan of that, of the title of the movie being used in the movie. And you are the Fellowship of the Ring. Da-na-na. Dum 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 dum. Da-na-na. I don't like that. So they do it in this movie, and I don't like it here either. Ultimately, and then the movie ends 9 hours later. Ultimately, is The Dark Knight good? Does it suck? It is good, and it does not suck. However, caveat, you can cut at least 30 minutes out of the movie, maybe more, and have a much better, cleaner movie. You can cut out that whole shit with the parade, the mayor parade, and Gordon faking his own death, and Batman, the bullet. You can cut that right the hell out, and you can cut out most of the two boats scenes. And you'd cut like at least 30 minutes out of the movie. I think it would be a much stronger movie. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I will make that cut. And then we'll see. But yeah, so there you go. It does not suck. It is a good movie, but it is very bloated and very long. So maybe there's already a fan edit. I don't know if you guys know this, but there are these things called fan edits where people will take movies and re-edit them or tighten them up or recolor them. I've recolored movies too that I liked the movie, but I hated the way it was colored. I did that with Lord of the Rings. Now I think they released a better version of it now. Yeah, well, they'll take a movie that's all kind of shitty or janky or bloated, and they'll chop it up into just regular people. Some of them are filmmakers in their own right, like not like big name professionals or anything, but like, amateur filmmakers or semi-pro filmmakers, or just people who know how to do it and like doing it. And you can find those. You can look them up and find them. You have to do a little bit of finagling to figure out how to watch them, but once you do, it's very simple. And a lot of them are very good. Anyway, that'll be it. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching, rate and review on iTunes. I'm also I put this podcast on Spotify as well. So you can listen to this on Spotify, PORB on Spotify. If you are a Spotify person, follow me there. Also like and subscribe on YouTube, hit that notification bell. Instagram Baker, TikTok @GrahamBaker, Twitter @GrahamBaker. Yeah, my website is grahambaker.com. I don't have a PORB website, but I'll probably put one together. But, I do other shit too. You can check that out. The music, my band is Greyhouse, 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 2 words, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Bandcamp, on all the places where you get music. I think on Instagram it's official Greyhouse. No, it's Greyhouse Music. Greyhouse Music. Check me out. Holla at your boy. And yeah, that'll be it. Peace.